Kurdish Victims Fund Court Report 15. The third leg of the murderous Barzani criminal enterprise drug trafficking business is crystal meth and cocaine. In Iraq, the penalty for drug trafficking can be execution. So far, the Barzani criminal enterprise seems to be above the law, but no longer. Their illegal drug trafficking is now being fully exposed in the United States court, to the White House, and to the United States Congress. In our most recent two reports, we have explained the counterfeiting crimes of Masoud Barzani, Sroor Barzani, Waisi Barzani, and Barzani family members and criminal co-conspirators. In this report, we explain what is before the Washington, D.C. court in another vile and unlawful part of Barzani criminal enterprise drug money. President Joe Biden has declared this is a national security concern to the United States. In the Middle East, a new crisis is taking hold, and it is being fueled by the Barzani criminal enterprise. The illegal narcotics trade poses security threats and risks to society. The drug epidemic risks consuming Iraq's young generation. Iraq's security forces are now fighting an undeclared war against a new enemy, crystal meth. And at the same time, the Barzani criminal enterprise is unlawfully profiting from this extremely addictive drug, which causes immediate damage to the user's brain. This is just one more example, being presented to the United States court, where Masoud Barzani, Masroor Barzani, Waisi Barzani, and their family and criminal co-conspirators have abused their official positions to traffic drugs and collaborated with criminal networks to undermine the rule of law in Kurdistan. Crystal meth is now being manufactured secretly inside Iraq itself, and there's no way to know what's in drugs made in illegal labs. And according to insider confidential witnesses in the court case, the largest source of illegal drug revenue for the Barzani criminal enterprise is crystal meth and cocaine. Evidence presented to the United States court declares the cocaine is unlawfully imported by the Barzani criminal enterprise and distributed principally to Europe and Asia. The Barzani criminal enterprise partners with international drug cartels and the IRGC to obtain cocaine and manufactures crystal meth. In the business association with the IRGC and international drug cartels, the IRGC is the lead member because of Iran's desperate need for cash. Masroor Barzani manages the illegal drug operation through the intelligence agency of the Kurdistan regional government, which is controlled by the Barzani criminal enterprise. Raw material of Sudafed is imported from China and India in blister packaging. In Erbil, the Sudafed is taken out of the blister packs and shipped in bulk to Iran for chemical processing. The product comes back to Erbil as meth and is then distributed to world markets, principally Europe and Asia. Under the direct control and command of Masroor Barzani, Syed Barzani manages the crystal meth and cocaine operation for the Barzani criminal enterprise. Profits from this operation provide a substantial part of the unlawful money that enriches the Barzani criminal enterprise and harms the Kurdistan Masoud Barzani and Masroor Barzani pretend to protect. Toxic chemicals used in meth manufacturing take a toll on the environment. Every pound of meth made can generate up to 5 pounds of toxic waste that may seep into the soil and groundwater. The process also generates highly explosive gases and toxic fumes that can severely harm anyone exposed to them, especially children. The Barzani criminal enterprise seems to not care. Crystal meth is a synthetic stimulant and its addiction is severe. It is a dangerous drug which destroys the immune system and can lead to a slow death from heart failure and kidney failure. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, with whom the Kurdish Victims Fund has consulted, crystal meth is now considered the most dangerous and widespread drug in Iraq. One Iraqi young woman who became addicted to this crystal meth said, "It was my alternative to suicide. And I didn't know that it was a path to a slow death." As the growing mountain of evidence in the possession of the Kurdish Victims Fund court case is publicly presented in coming days, it is likely to trigger the harshest penalties to Masoud Barzani, Masroor Barzani, Waisi Barzani, the Barzani family and their criminal co-conspirators. U.S. President Joe Biden, alarmed by this international drug trafficking, has issued a presidential executive order and declared a national emergency to deal with that threat. To enforce that position, President Biden has approved international sanctions against meth traffickers and authorized the Secretary of the Treasury to block all property in the United States owned by these traffickers, prohibited any transfers of money to the United States by these sanctioned persons, and banned their travel to the United States. For the first time, this court case has revealed to the United States court a gigantic list of secret Barzani family properties and hidden bank accounts in the United States. As a result of what is coming in this court case, all of the massive Barzani illegal concealed Barzani wealth in the United States is at serious risk of seizure. Governments of other countries are hinting to the Kurdish Victims Fund they may take the same action.